You all, we are not licensed professionals. We are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of the Friendship University podcast. We're here another week trying to encourage you to be better as we ourselves are being a little bit better every single day. I think we can probably start saying that it's progression over perfection. And I do have to give credit where credit is due. That is not something that I came up with. I heard another content creator on YouTube. He's a twin and they do beauty and skincare. Can I remember their name? I think it was James Welch or something like that. And he says that all the time. And when I heard it, I said, that is great. I don't know if he made it up or if it's a quote from somewhere. I never looked it up, but progression over perfection is what we're striving for every single week when we come on this podcast and spill our guts, So welcome back for another week with my co-host, Tarrah. How you doing, Tarrah? Clap it up. Woo! How you doing?
I am great. The Lord is good,
Yes,
and
he is all the time.
He is all the time, and all the time He is.
God is good.
Yes. So, I'm good. I am in Texas, um,
In the
near
heat.
the equator, where you melt before you get in the car. Like even before you have done anything, you're just like soaking wet. Let's just all go outside in our bathing suits. So then we don't have to worry about, maintaining any kind of standards or anything. But yeah, it is like astronomically hot here. And so yeah.
I can
How about
attest.
you?
I have been in Texas in the summertime, and
Another level.
it's another level. It's not just heat; it's dry. You feel like
Desert.
SpongeBob on that episode where he was like in Sandy's little dome with no water. And he was like, oh, and she was like, are you okay, SpongeBob? He's like, oh, water. I need water. That's how you feel
It's
when you walk
insane.
outside. It's hot as
Yeah.
Hades.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So maybe that's why there's so many churches in Texas, because they say if hell is hot, you may want to give your life to the Lord, because please, if you can't take this heat, uh, I'm like, I can't believe it's this hot. That last year was my first time being there in the dead of summer. I've been there in like August and September, but never in like June and July. I was like, oh, this is
Literally,
different.
I don't know how the trees are making it. Like how is the grass living? How are the plants still here? I don't know. Like it's crazy. It is
People
crazy.
are people be running out there in the dead of. I'm like, y'all are different. Y'all are different kind of
The only way
beasts.
I can see it is if like you go early in the morning, like before it gets hot. Like at about 7, it's probably about 80, right? Like it's not that bad. But as the morning glory arises, it gets pretty intense for sure. And then by afternoon, it's crazy. It's like peak. Like right now, it's like, well, it's a little later in the afternoon. It's still peak. And then it's still hot at night. So it's pretty crazy.
How you hiding the sun down?
That's
Like,
how I
why
felt
you
when I
so
first came to
angry?
Georgia. That's how I felt when I first came to Georgia for college. I was like, the sun's gone down. Why is it so hot? I'm confused. Like, what is happening here? I remember the first
That's
time I saw a
true.
flying roach, I was like, what?
It's a different kind of beast.
This is crazy
It's
out here.
really not fair.
Crazy.
It's really not fair that things like that exist. I will say though, I'm in DC and I have not
How is it
seen
out
any.
there?
It's hot. It's not astronomical high. I won't even lie. We did go through what they call the summer solstice, which is the first day of summer, and that's apparently DC is like, because of our location, we're at the tippy top of where the heat index touches for the summer solstice. So that was probably the hottest it's going to be here. They said it was like 101 degrees that weekend, and it was hot. You could feel it. But at night it cooled down. The breeze was fine. I am by water, so there's a little bit of a breeze that comes in from that. And today I want to say maybe it's like 87. It was a nice day outside. Went for a walk. I did my morning run. That was fine. I have not seen any mosquitoes since I've been here. I will say that. I ain't seen a mosquito yet. Now, I don't want to, call them in because nobody's checking for you, but I've not seen a mosquito yet. I don't know if it's my location or what, but I'm pretty happy about that.
I have a question. What happened to all the lightning bugs? When I was a kid, we had lightning bugs.
We had lightning bugs too. That's a good question.
Who? What happened to them? Do they just not have them no more, or
That can't be. Let's see.
what happened? Because we used to catch them. I mean, like it was like
In
they
the
were
jar.
everywhere in the jar.
It's so in 2023, USA Today said there have been habitat losses of lightning bugs due to climate change, pesticides, and an increase in pollution.
They
So
ain't shit.
fireflies are dying off. They are about to be extinct, it looks like.
I
If
knew
we
it.
don't.
I I knew it
we haven't
because
I haven't seen them probably since college.
yeah, I haven't seen a lightning bug in ages, like years and years. But when I was a kid, they were everywhere.
Yeah, they were. We used to see them all the time. You take the little jar, catch them, and then let them go so they wouldn't die. That's a
I,
great question. I didn't even think about lightning bugs. I haven't thought about them because we haven't seen them in so long. We got killer bees and wasps and
so
new
the
species of.
pesticide killed the cute, harmless bugs, but left the ugly.
I think the pesticides is the reason we are coming up with new species of these things that are egregious, like them killer wasps that came out of nowhere a couple of years ago. The pesticide, I think these bugs are ingesting this and they're getting stronger and mutating into things that we don't want. Do you want a Spider-Man bug jumping around out here? I don't know. I don't think you do.
What's your
But
least favorite bug?
roaches.
Yeah. Me.
Period. I could, if I got the opportunity to ask God one question about the things that He's created, I would ask Him why He created roaches, because I get that they do handle certain things and keep certain bugs, like they eat certain things, but my gosh, like I can, if I never saw another roach again, I answered prayer. When I saw that there were flying roaches, it's the fact that there's so many of it's so many types. Like there are roaches that you can't eradicate. Like if you got a certain type of roach in your house, it's almost impossible to get rid of it.
Wow.
It's like, mm-mm, mm-mm. That's my least favorite bug of all time. What about you?
Mm, I hate a flying roach, but don't bite,
Mm-mm.
do they?
I can't tell you. I didn't learn that roaches bit until I was older, and I was
Roaches
talking.
bite?
Roaches bite. I was talking to this. I was dating this guy, and he had a very rough upbringing. and where he lived at the time had a lot of roaches. And he said at night, if you cut them lights off, they will crawl up under you and bite you, and you will wake up with bites and stuff on him. And I said, roaches bite? See, this is what I'm saying. Lord, why did you create them? I need to know when I get to heaven, if I can ask a question, if I got the capacity. I don't think my mind's gonna have the capacity to be able to ask a question. If I can ask a question, I just want to know, Lord, why?
Roaches bite. You learn
Bite.
something new every
They
day.
bite. It's crazy. So I don't know. Flying roaches, I will say, I I don't see a lot of them here. I saw one. I saw one flying roach since I've been here, and the only reason I knew that it was flying, first of all, I haven't seen a lot of roaches. Period. And it could again just be my location. Don't get me wrong, because I am towards the city, so maybe the city just I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of roaches. Period. I saw one flying roach. I went to open my window, and it was on my window, and I yanked it back, and it flew off into the distance. And I said, "They got flying roaches here? I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
thought
I
I
didn't
had
even
invaded them.
I didn't even know there was such thing as a flying roach
I
until I
thought they were
reached
just in the South."
until I reached Georgia. I didn't know that. So yeah, flying roach. I didn't know it existed. I don't care for spiders. I just don't like them. They're ugly. The big ones, the hairy ones, and they bite, and they
They
could kill
bite.
you. And it could like the bite
Yes,
could kill you. Like that's not cool.
that's
So like
true.
so when like I go out of the country, if I would take a roach over a killer spider
I guess
personally.
it does depend on your geographic location. I will also say I don't care for spiders, but I did learn. When I was younger, I used to have a fear of spiders, and what I used to do when I had fears for something is I used to like immerse myself in knowledge about it. So I remember like going to the library, like reading all these books about spiders and learning all this stuff. And there really aren't a lot of not there are a lot of types of spiders, but there aren't a lot that are venomous.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's like, I'm gonna just throw a number out there. If there's like 1,000 different types of spiders, it may be like seven out of that 1,000 that could actually kill you, and a lot of them are in climates like Australia or places like that. I want to go to Australia. One of the things that I have been praying about is like if and when I do make it to Australia, I never encounter some of the species that they have to, because it's different out there. I had a coworker who it was Australian, grew up in Australia. They lived in the UK now, and they used to have to take like training courses in grade school about like proper etiquette outside, knowing your location. If you see these kind of trees, if you see these kind of things, then these kind of like deadly species are around there, and they would keep their shoes turned upside down in the house because things could crawl into them, or they would like pat their shoe before they put it on because there is a big probability that you would put your foot in the shoe and a spider would be in there or something. So
Oh wow. Yeah,
it's
yeah, no. I'm just trying to think of like if I went on vacation,
I don't
if
care for
I was
wasps because they're
um
just mad. They're just angry.
okay.
Like bees sting, but wasps are angry.
Yeah, so if I was on location somewhere and I had to be trapped in a home with something, I would say I prefer to be trapped in a home with a flying roach because I can like it's big. I can address it. But like to be
Yeah,
trapped with like a jumping spider, like that would drive me nuts.
that's true.
But I do also hate mosquitoes like real bad. Like I hate them. Like I hate them. But like a spider bite is like way worse than a mosquito bite.
That's true. Spider bites often leave scars. If you
Mm-hmm.
get bit by a spider, you'll notice there's a scar.
Mm.
Um, versus mosquitoes, where it kind of wells up and then it goes away after a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, I guess if I was traveling out of the country, I would probably be able to be trapped in the house with a roach. I feel like I could navigate a roach easier. I have a little bit more experience with navigating roaches. So, and I feel like you can see a roach more easily than you can a
Yeah.
spider.
Them must be jumping. Some of them are like plop,
There's a
plop, plop.
forest. There's a jumping spider forest. I think it's
Absolutely
in
not.
Australia, and they just
Absolutely
jump.
not. Absolutely not. At worst
Let me
nightmare.
tell you, I would
Absolutely
tell you.
not.
Let me tell you what one of my worst nightmares that came to
Forest.
life.
We just walking and just jumping spiders everywhere.
Just
Absolutely not.
jumping. Like they do a
I'm not
double
doing it.
dutch. They do a double dutch.
Mm-mm.
I
Uh-uh.
went. So many years ago, I went what's called tubing, and that's when you like get on a raft. You can do it on any river. I happened to be, I think it was the Chattahoochee River, and I'm sorry, I did not turn on my uh, do not disturb, but it was the Chattahoochee River in Georgia, northern Georgia. And that's when you get on a raft and you just float down a river or whatever. And you could do it with people. They'll like link you together if you're in a whole group. So it was a group of us. We were linked, and we're just it's peaceful. You were floating down a river. We had a little waterproof speaker, Bluetooth speaker, and we came across this tree, and it was them thick spider webs in the trees, baby, and the tree was hanging low, and my raft was going. I flipped over. I said, "Ah, okay." I
I'll take
almost
the
flipped
water
the
over
person.
that web.
I almost flipped the person who I was connected
Oh,
to.
Charlotte, you don't know what's going on.
My literally, it was like this close, Tara. I was like, ah! It was a thick, big spider. Like it had been there for a while. I'm like, oh no, baby, I can't do this.
Mm-mm.
I can't do it.
No. And they tried to
Crazy.
get us to like the spider spot with Charlotte's Web. Didn't work. I said no. I don't care. I don't care how how helpful she was. I don't care.
I mean, they were.
I don't
I
care
think
how much of a down play she was, giving all her strength
she
to
really
to
was.
to make sure he was the winning pick. I don't care. I don't care. I still was not mad that she died at the end. I wasn't mad.
She gave her life for a friend. She gave her
For
life.
a friend.
Oh gosh, I forgot about Charlotte's Web. Okay, yes. So now you all know. So don't ever send none of these bugs our way. In the name of Jesus, please rebuke you. Yeah, but I'm good. My mom and stepdad were in town this past weekend, so they have been riding me like a racehorse, having gallivanting around the town, doing all the touristy things,
I
just
love
doing
it.
everything that they could possibly think of to do.
What
I'm
did y'all
just
do?
like, we we went to the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. We went to this other museum. We went to a concert on the National Mall. We
So
went to
who was at the concert?
Charlie Wilson. This
Now
other
that's
like
fun.
actually a great time.
He is such a
Uh,
great performer
he
still.
still to this day. I said
Is he
the
still
Lord.
dancing stuff?
He be moving. He be moving, and he got dancers on stage, and he got the band. And the Lord really is a redeemer because all them years of like drug use and stuff,
He
and
sounds great.
it did not do what you would think it would do to him. He got to be like almost 80, if not 80.
I probably saw him about 6, 7 years ago, and he was spectacular, dancing full
He
out for 2 hours,
it had
singing
his full outfit on.
full outfit, dancers and
hmm
everything
He was singing. The mic was on.
was on.
He did a couple of gap band
Ooh,
tracks. Okay, my name's Charlie. Last name Wilson.
ooh.
But he was great. It was fun. There was like another jazz band. I'm not too sure of their name at the moment. We went, got seafood, got Baltimore seafood because if you know, you know, Baltimore has some delicious seafood.
I love
Um,
Baltimore. You know what my favorite thing? Their accent that they say.
Baltimore.
Baltimore. No, I like when they say "do."
Oh, you too, shoe do.
Do. Who you thought you was gonna do? Zoo. I like it.
Yes, I do like that. I do like that accent. We did a
Mhm.
lot. We did a lot more than that. They didn't stop. They're older. They're about up there. So I'm thankful that they're still traveling and moving around and full of life and just want to have a good time. I accidentally took them to this restaurant that had like karaoke, but it turned out
Oh, spooky
fine.
dookie.
Right, it turned out fine because we had a good time laughing at the people and also enjoying some of the acts. Yeah, all in all, it was a good weekend. I'm tired, but I'm thankful that they came to visit me. I don't take for granted people spending their hard-earned money and their time to
That's right.
come and spend time with me. So very thankful for that. Yeah. Outside of that, I think I'm a-okay. Like I have no complaints. The Lord is good, like He said. So here we are for another week, another episode. Uh, um, so you all know the drill. You can anticipate episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. Pew, pew, pew,
Pew, pew,
pew.
pew, pew.
Bo, 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 bo,
Bro,
bo.
bro, bro,
Booyakacha,
bro,
booyakacha.
bro.
Yeah. And let's hop into it. So I saw this question on the Twitters, and I thought it'd be fun to answer.
Why would he change the name? It's still so lame.
His mama named Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter. Period. You want to just exert and usurp all this control. You want to change the name to X. I just really feel like he has this fascination with like the future and space and all of these things, extraterrestrial esque. Um, and so he is. When you have a lot of money, the desires of your heart are what are amplified. And so I just feel like, he's just doing what he wants to do with his little boy fantasies since he was small. So I don't know if you, and I don't know, I just want to make a disclaimer. Don't send no cease and desist letter to us or try to sue us because this is speculation and this is on the internet. I'm not saying anything
Allegedly,
defamatory.
allegedly.
Okay, this is not
Just say
defamatory.
allegedly.
This is alleged. But there's a woman who said that she was his nanny growing up. And she did an interview. And that interview, if you get a chance to watch it, it's quite interesting. Some of the things she said she saw him doing as a child. Like, she said she used to walk in the room and he would be like facing his back to the door and like on the bed, like talking to somebody. And she'd be like, who are you talking to? And he would say, like, I'm the king of such and such. And I'm talking to my Lord. And I am getting my assignments. And
Well,
yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. So, so yeah, I don't know. But she did I don't know who she did the interview with. She probably has done multiple at this point. But I just happened to come across it on YouTube. And it was like 45 minutes, and I was like, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. She said she was the one that spent the majority of the time with him because his parents were really not there a lot. So she was like always there, and he was a strange kid, for lack of better terms. So yes. But yes, I saw this, and I kind of want to change it a little bit because the original question is, what are you tired of as an adult? And I thought, okay, I guess we could answer that. But I was also thinking, like, as an adult, what would you go back and tell your childhood self is not all it's cracked up to be? Like something that you're now like, oh, I can't believe I got to do this as an adult. Let me go back and tell my childhood self that, baby, you thought this was where it was at, but it ain't all it's cracked up to be in this area.
If I'm being honest, the first thing that came to my mind is bills. bill? Can you pay my bills? Can you
Can you
pay
pay my
my
telephone
bill?
bill? Pay my automatic
It's
bill.
just like they never take a break. They don't have
You don't
vacation.
have, you don't got no
Y'all don't go on
PTO.
holiday. Y'all don't have a holiday. Y'all
Golly.
be off.
So
Y'all don't have a
needy.
jubilee.
It's
Y'all don't come.
giving broke. Why you
You know,
always need my money?
it's giving. Take a break. Take a day off. Take a month off.
You don't have no
You
no
don't have
summer
a no
break.
bill month like in December and nobody pay their bills. Like nothing. It's giving team too much. It's giving too much. But yes, that's like y'all never go to sleep. Y'all never just be like,
You know what? We gonna chill this month. Everybody
hey,
just relax.
yeah.
We're just gonna take a break. You know what? Y'all don't do no 15s, no 30, no hour lunches, nothing. You just always on the
Nothing.
clock.
Sheesh.
It's pretty crazy. I honestly feel like if we gave everyone like a 1 month break from bills, it would set so many people up for success. Like, cause
That wouldn't that be cool?
so many people are so close to just being 1 month past due, past getting put out, past losing their car, past. If you would just give them that 1 month and everybody still works same, da 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 da, I think it would really put a lot of people. I'm not gonna say ahead, but it could put some people on track to not feel like they're drowning. You know, if you do what you're supposed to do, there are gonna be some fools out there who, you know, when they get their tax money and they could get ahead of themselves, they go out and they buy a new flat screen TV to
Who
put
does
it
that?
to
Who's
put
even
it
watching
on the
TV?
and you buy it to put it on the floor because you don't even have a TV stand.
Who's still watching TV? Like for what? What's the
You
point?
just going out and you taking vacations to Miami for what? Like, when you really could just be paying your car note up. That's like past due. Or you could pay your rent up because every month you paying past due fees, which will keep putting you behind.
Yeah, I just think that that would be nice. That's mine. What about you? What's yours?
See, I could go back and tell my younger self that, but I wasn't really thinking about bills when I was small. Like
I wasn't.
when I was young, I knew that my parents were like paying for stuff, but I didn't really have a concept of like you paying for everything, like these lights, this water, this gas, this grass that's getting cut, the food. I wasn't really thinking about it like that. Um, I would probably go back and tell myself that staying up late is not always correct to be. Like, you feel like you just want to be up all the time. And I get it. Some people are like what they call night owls. Sometimes I used to be up and a lot of my creativity would come at night. But baby, now I'm like, don't first of all, don't invite me out of my house past 9. Like, if your event start at 10, there's a very
I ain't
high
coming.
probability that I'm not coming.
I'm not coming. 10 o'clock at night? You're crazy.
But yeah, I will probably be like staying up late. Don't invite me. I got a couple of things happen, a couple of rules now. You barely if your event is at 7 p.m. that day, you you better hope you telling me at 7 a.m. the same day I'm gonna show up. Don't tell me the same day of your event. Don't expect me to be there. Don't call me as a last minute resort. Don't be like at 5 p.m. Hey, I got tickets to this concert at 8. You want to go? Who was you planning to take from the first place that bailed on you? Why are you calling me now to go somewhere in 3 hours? No, ma'am. Um, I need time. If the parking is a little and I can't take transit or take an easy Uber, I'm gonna probably reconsider it. It's a few things now that I just don't want to be out of my house. I want to be in my bed a couple of hours after the sun go down, and that's for both seasons. So when we go into the fall and the sun starts going down at 5:30, I'm probably gonna be in the bed by 7, maybe 7:30. Right now the sun's going down about 8:30, so you get a little grace. I may pop out and show niggas a little bit at 9:30, 10, but I want to be in my house snuggled up like Homer Simpson by a certain time. I don't want to be out of the house when the day ends that I left the house in and we're now in a new day. So now it's midnight and I'm in a whole new day and I'm not back at my house yet. I don't
I
want
want to
that.
be back in my
I
house before the
want
clock strikes 12. I'm
Cinderella.
home,
My
rubbing my feet together, sounding like sandpaper. I want to be at home in my bed, rubbing my twinkle in my toes and rubbing my feet together.
Ooh, it feels so good. My carriage is gonna turn into a pumpkin at 11:59. I got to get out of
I'm
here.
trying to be at the house,
So I'm going.
enjoying my rent, enjoying
I
my
pay.
somebody said on Instagram, they said, "What you doing this weekend?" They said, "Enjoying my rent."
Okay, enjoy the money that I spent on this hard-earned square footage. Okay, I pay a lot of money to y'all Negroes every month.
To be
I'm gonna
outside
enjoy.
all the time, I'm finna be inside.
I'm
I'm
inside.
inside.
I want to be like Jackie Ina has a saying where she's like, "Y'all know I don't leave my house if it's not with my passport. I don't leave the house if I'm not leaving the country." So she said, "I barely leave the house for a check nowadays, if I'm gonna be honest."
Wow. It got to be a
So
real check.
it's a
She got them
real.
candles out. She ain't stunting. If it ain't no real check, she ain't coming.
She
I ain't
ain't
mad.
coming, okay? So I'm
Period.
trying to get like that, where I'm leaving my house for purposed events that are going to either be paying me or edify me in some way. Um, or I'm like edifying somebody else, something with a purpose. So
I mean, isn't
yes.
that so crazy how the world has changed so much? Because we used to have to leave the house to get social interaction. Now
Mm,
we don't. It's FaceTime. It's stuff like this. It's YouTube. We have access to all the information we want. Can you imagine what it was like before Google, before the internet, before all of this virtual stuff? You had to go to seminars. You had to get in your car, find out through the paper or the radio or TV, and drive there.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess that's why our parents were. My house was the party house. My parents hosted gatherings every weekend. In
Wow.
between my mom and my auntie, we were over there. All the kids, we had our own room. Our house had a basement, and we would go into the basement. All the kids would be in the basement, and the adults would be upstairs having a grand old time. And yeah, and that was, I guess, there was their interactions where they could enjoy themselves and have a good time on the weekends, wind down from work. But baby, and I'm not saying don't become a hermit. Do leave your house, do get out, meet people and stuff, but be honest with people. If you trying to meet somebody and they at night owl and they be want to go out at night, be like, we got to do something today. I am, and I'm okay with this. I had to really
Brought
be
your
honest with.
lunch.
I had to be honest with myself. I'm the Sunday farmers market friend now. Let's go grab a coffee. Let's go to the local outdoor farmers market. Let's get some fresh flowers, some nice fruit smoothies, and then we will bid adieu at
She's a
about
walking
2.
Pinterest board, everyone. She lives in Pinterest in the Pinterest world.
You
If
know
you're
my
not
life.
if you're not trying to be a pin, she's over it.
I wanna. You know what I'm
Some of
saying?
y'all
Like,
Instagram and some of y'all Pinterest. She's on the Pinterest side.
I'm on the
Okay.
Pinterest side, and then we're gonna bid adieu. I'm so high. We had to sign together by 3:30 p.m. and I'm back at my house by 4. And I still got the rest of my afternoon. It's still afternoon. We ain't in the evening yet. I can go to the grocery store if I need to. I can meal prep. I get myself prepared for Monday morning. Have my clothes laid out like the first day of school. I'm ready.
Period.
And I'm
Like,
in bed. I'm in bed by 9.
I love that. I love that. Close
For
late.
real. Yeah, I'm the morning hiker friend. Let's go for a hike.
I
Saturday
love to
morning.
hike.
Yeah,
It's so fun.
let's
It's so
go for
funny
a
how your
hike.
priorities change as you get older, right? Like the things you enjoy changes so much. But I never was a club person. I never was. Like I could be a night owl creative person, but I've never been like a club party person.
Yeah,
I've
that
always
never
been
been
more
your
of a
thing. And I
vibe person.
never, yeah, I was never a clubber either. I did, and I still do, but I did used to really enjoy live music. Like I
Oh,
used
still
to
love
go
live
out.
music.
Yeah,
Still
I
love it.
still love live music, but I used to
it
go to jazz clubs. I used to go where they had like live DJs
yeah,
spinning a
yeah. If
lot.
I
Yeah.
if I go out at night now, it's for live music usually. Like
Yeah.
for an event, live music, which is so cool because it was fun to actually have some social, real interaction and meet
Hmm.
new people this week. So I have a friend of mine who owns a candle. It's called Golden Black Candle Lounge, and
It's in Dallas.
it's in Dallas, and it
Hmm.
is where you can have a candle making experience, but it's also in a lounge. So she has on one side, you have this like really cool candle making experience. You can make candles, it's like classes. You can purchase candles, you can make like scents and things, like room sprays or body sprays, which is so cool. Like
Oh,
super
yes.
cool.
Come on.
Yeah, and on the other side, it's like this whole lounge, right? Like it's this whole area where you can like lounge because while the candles are have to dry, like set.
Solidify. Yeah.
Yes, then it takes about an hour, so you can like lounge and they can have live music
That's
there.
a
Yeah,
great
it's
idea.
such
That's a
a
such a
vibe.
smart idea.
It's
Dallas
so good.
peeps, if you're in the Dallas or the Fort Worth or in that area of Texas, check out Golden Black Candle Company. Yeah,
Candle Lounge, Golden Black
Candle
Candle.
Lounge, Golden Black
Yes,
Candle Lounge.
it's in the
Uh,
design district, and it's such a vibe. It's a beautiful space.
that's
It's huge.
dope. Make yourself a
Um,
nice, beautiful candle to burn in your house and vibe out. It's a vibe. Vibe
it's a
out
vibe.
while
Yeah.
you
Oh
waiting
no.
for your stuff to coagulate.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it was like a group of women there, and we just all happened to like come by at the same time. Like I was, someone invited someone else, and someone invited someone else, and it was just so cool to be around all these like really, just really talented, gifted, thought women of faith, thought provoking women, and we were just like working on like different projects and how we could help one another and really kind of networking. And then that way, I love to network because it was like genuine, authentic, like let's build another sister, let's help each other. What ideas do I have? How can I help you? And
I
stuff like that.
love genuineness.
So
Yeah, networking can be such a drag when it's like, how do you do? How do
yeah,
you do? And where's your Instagram and all this? Oh gosh, I hate that. But that genuine connection is so great. It powers you. It makes you feel invigorated and creative, and that's
yeah,
so
and
great.
it was so great just me meeting other just women, just dynamic women who have a passion, who love God. It was just amazing.
Mhm.
Reminded me how just a blessing it is to encounter other people, like real, genuine, awesome people. And then I met another young man. I met at a coffee shop. We ended up meeting, and he has a podcast. So I ended up being able to come on his podcast and do like a live performance and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And he was just like a really uh, just a blessing to be around because if I'm being honest, it was a drab. Like my morning was a drab. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like,
Mhm.
do I want to cancel? I don't really know him. I probably could cancel if I wanted to, but I was like, no. I made him a commitment, but I just don't. I don't feel up to it today. But it was so crazy, and when I got there, he was so excited to see me. He was
Mm.
so happy. He just told me how grateful he was that I came and all of that. And we just had a great time. And he inspired me. I inspired him. So it goes to show you that, like, I think what I got out of the moment was just meeting people can just be a big blessing. You know, everybody's not an energy zapper. You know, everybody's not a vampire.
Yeah, they're
Like
not.
some people can bring life and bring
Hmm.
excitement to your life. And so that was a blessing to me that I didn't see coming.
That's great. I think I saw a couple of clips of that on Instagram. You got to let us know when the episode drops because I love
I
that. Because
know.
when he was talking about it, I was like, that's such a cool idea. Like a tiny desk for gospel artists and inspirational artists. Like beautiful. I think that's a phenomenal idea.
Yeah, and he said he was like wanting to, even if you're a secular artist, he wanted them to come so they can just meet and encounter, the different, just the love that he wants to share. And it was just
He
great.
seemed really nice. He seemed very
Super
nice.
nice guy. Super nice guy. Shout out to Patrick. It was such a
Hey,
blessing
Pat,
meeting you, Patrick. It
friend
was
of the
just,
pod.
yeah, it was just awesome. So I just learned that we're not an island. Like, you're not always going to feel on 1,000, which for me, as someone that's like loves to be on 1,000, you're not always like, I love it. Like, oh yes, like let's just always have all the joy and all the fun and all the feels. But in life, you're not always going to feel like that. And so it was just a blessing to someone else to come with joy and to add to the joy and just remind you, like, hey, you know, it's all good. So that was a blessing for sure, for sure.
That is great. I think that that's actually a really good segue into my next question. So I don't know if you've seen the beginners. It's two films prior to this. A Quiet Place Day One, I think just came out last Friday. If not, by the time you're viewing this, it should have come out. It's either coming out this Friday or came out last Friday. And so A Quiet Place, I don't know if you've seen the other two, but it's the film where essentially the premise is there is this beast, for lack of better terms, that invades Earth and it can't see, it can only hear. So when you make noise is when it attacks. So it's like you gotta be super quiet. I mean, like
It,
drop a
is that the
pin.
is that the film with Lupita?
Lupita Nyong'o, yes,
Okay.
it is. So this is, so they have two prior to this. This is supposed to be, I guess, the predatory one of it. So this is supposed to be what actually happened the very first day that it hit the earth. Because the other two focused on like years after, for the most part, yeah, years after. So, supposed to be like where it hit ground zero, the first city. So you just talked about you are a bubble of joy and you sing and you dance around and you are just happy and rambunctious with
I
your words
try.
all the time.
I try.
But in a quiet place, it's called a quiet place because you got to be quiet. So how long do you think you would survive if you had to be quiet? Like I'm talking about you walking, and if you walking on or gravel, you gotta take your shoes off so that you don't make no noise. That's how quiet you gotta be. No singing,
That sounds
no
terrible.
talking. It is very much so torture for sure. Um,
The only thing that would save me is reading because I do like to read. That's what immediately came to my mind. Like, the only way I could make it is if I just read a lot. But it would
okay.
also be torture because I couldn't like share the knowledge like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like that would probably give me about a week or two.
You said
Like, we all gotta learn sign language. Is that what's happening?
you gotta learn science. So the very first film deals with a family who has a deaf child. So they already know sign language. The whole family already knows sign
Oh
language,
wow.
and they're signing throughout the whole film. So yeah, you would probably have to learn, which you would need to read probably to learn it because a lot of people don't know ASL off the rip. Yeah, just sign it or writing stuff
So
down.
what happened to the sign language people at church? Remember
You
they
used to
used to
have
have
the
to learn,
interpreters at the front.
but they got headphones now.
Not every, I guess, but what did happen to them? What about the people
Cause
who
baby,
don't have
they
a
used to
hearing
sing.
aid?
Remember the sign language people? They used to sing like when the choir used to Lord. I just know Lord, Lord
Was the Lord?
Jesus. I think it was
I
Jesus.
think this is Jesus. Of me.
That's all I know. All I know is the
So
Lord. I took like what happened to them? That was a big part of my church experience. I used to just stare at the sign language lady
now
and like,
that you say that, I really don't know. I have not seen interpreters in church in a long time. What's
what
happening?
happened?
We don't need
What happened?
interpreters no more.
We don't need it no more. They got earbuds or something that tell them what's going on,
I
or
don't
they
see
watch
them.
something. Closed caption.
So they in a special room? Because the
I,
whole, if you in the main sanctuary, the whole, it's not closed captioning on the, I mean, I guess maybe they're at home during the live stream closed captioning, maybe? They're like watching the churches on live stream, maybe?
I don't know, but
I don't know either.
what happened? That was a big part of my church experience.
We still got them in concerts. Remember that lady that got caught fake interpreting?
How you
What
get
would
your tail up
possess you?
there?
What would possess you to do that? What would be like you think to yourself, who would know, but you're on an event that is streaming on television across the world. Somebody who is an actual sign. I don't even think the person who called it was deaf. I just think they knew ASL and they were like, that, I don't know what she's doing, but that's not ASL. What? That's so ridiculous. Why would you do that? Good. People just, I mean,
She got
you
her. She's
know,
like, I need this check.
I
I
mean,
need this.
baby. She said, if the
I
check
don't care.
clear,
I don't care.
they hired me. They didn't test my knowledge. That's on the person who didn't test the knowledge. Because I feel like if you are going for a job for sign language, there should be some type of like test where we give you a piece of paper and you need to sign to us what's on this paper.
We give you all. Yeah. Mhm.
So I don't know. 2 weeks then. You're saying a good solid 2 weeks is how long you would be able to make it.
I also am good to knock over something. So I would just
Mm,
like my whole everything about my life would have to like be different because I make noise. I can be a noisy person. So I mean, if my life depended on it, probably I could get away with it. I don't know how long I could live being just silent. I don't know. What do you think? What about you?
um, I'm not as clumsy as I used to be. I used to be very clumsy when I was younger. Uh, I think I could make it. I think if I was in the house by myself, I don't know how long. If I were with see, the thing is, if you're with people, the more people, the less control you have over the situation. So, you can be with people, and if they make noise, then it brings the predator. So
But you can't laugh anymore.
you can't laugh. You can't. You got a silent cry. You can't.
You gotta shed a single lonely tear. You can't. You can't do none of that.
In the I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, but in one of those first ones, the woman actually gives birth and she cannot
I was
scream.
literally about to
They
say.
give they She gives birth. She's pregnant when it happens, and she's like biting on this. She's like in the tub,
But what about the baby? The baby doesn't
and
hear.
so what they did was they built this like bunker thing under that had like these. It wasn't necessarily soundproof, but it was under the house where they could put the baby into this thing so that if it did cry, you really couldn't hear it. It wasn't loud.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how they evaded that. But even with that, yeah, babies don't care. They cry. You
And
get
then toddlers, like,
scream and shout. Yeah. Um,
I gotta
I
see this
probably wouldn't
movie
get
now.
pregnant. I probably wouldn't
Yeah,
get
you can't get
pregnant.
pregnant.
I would
You can't.
never. I would never want to put myself in that situation. I wouldn't
You just
want to
can't
put
get pregnant.
myself or a new life in
Yeah,
that
you absolutely can't.
situation. So she couldn't help it because she was already pregnant when it happened, I think. So, but yeah, it's I think I could do it. I feel the same way if I can read a book, but I am very dramatic and responsive to things that I see and read. Like I'll be reading books and I respond to it like people who be in the movie theater responding. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they just did that. I be
You
laughing.
can't
It's like can't
clapping and
clap.
singing,
You know, I'm a very expressive talker. I mean, you're not talk,
dancing.
no dancing. You can still listen to
Shouting.
music with headphones. I have a
Okay.
pretty great CD selection. So if
So
I
how
could
are
have
you
a
make
CD,
no new music can't be made because how
no
you
new music,
whisper
no.
ASMR is gonna thrive.
Well, the thing is, you don't really have anything other than what you already have in existence because eventually the cell phone lines get cut because there's nobody running the towers. You gotta pilfer your own food from the grocery store. So it's like
That's crazy.
I think where it would come in for me, which would kind of fall into difficulty, is like the necessities of survival, like having to get food and water, because you have to go to the store and get these things. You can only carry so much, so yeah,
Interesting.
interesting concept. I think we could make. I think maybe if we were together, we could make it. We just would have to like, I don't know, learn sign language and
Yeah.
get a whole lot of paper. Okay.
I'm trying to
I
imagine my left.
mean,
I'm trying to practice my silent laugh.
when you think about it though, if you're in that, if we're in a situation where the world is in that state, we probably won't really be laughing anyway. It'll be some. We would have to like really work at keeping our joy up because
I laugh at everything.
it's just
I will find
despair.
a joke. I will find a joke. I will
Despair.
find. Yeah. If I'm going out, I'm going out. I'm
Okay,
going
I
out
get it. Yeah,
on the
going
top.
on a high note. Go out on a high note. I feel you. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I could make it. You should watch it. It's a pretty interesting. It's 3 films in
Yeah, I would
total.
like to watch it.
You could probably just start with the one with Lupita, since it's just ground zero, and then go from there. I'm probably gonna go see it sometime soon. But yes, so and talking about despair and angst, because that Quiet Place is just full of heartache. I mean, at the core,
The
there
movie.
is, yes, the first one, at its core, yes, there are triumphant moments, and you're rooting for this family, and it has this beautiful ending, but there are very high moments of angst and despair and just suffering and pain. So I thought it would
Sounds
be
like a
interesting.
downer.
It is a drama slash thriller. I
Kind of
guess
like
would
a
be.
Bird Box. Bird Box, I did enjoy though.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bird Box. It's pretty much
Yeah,
like
I
Bird
did enjoy
Box.
Bird Box. Weirdly enough,
Bird Box was good. I didn't like that forced relationship they did with Sandra Bullock and that man from Twilight. They could have kept that.
I don't remember that part.
But it's pretty much, A Quiet Place came out first, but yeah, it's like that. I personally think A Quiet Place had a better plot.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's like that. So you know that. So if you want to compare it to Bird Box, then there are moments of despair and angst. But there are also moments where you're like, yes, they're gonna make it. We have some hope. We have some joy. Different things like that. Same thing. But it made me think about how in life pain is inevitable, right? You're gonna go through things, even if it's not emotional pain. You're gonna hurt yourself. Growing up, you fall off a bike. We all, well, I'm not gonna say we all, but a lot of us got this skin knee where it shows that we was outside rough
Outside.
housing and doing our elbows and stuff like that on our arms. It's just pain, but it got me to thinking about what the choices are in embracing pain versus choosing to stay in suffering. So I looked up I looked up what pain was and I looked up what to suffer was. And so pain, let me read the definition. Pain is an unpleasant bodily sensation or complex of sensations that cause mild to severe physical discomfort. It can also be mental or emotional distress. Right. And then to suffer is to submit to or be forced to endure the state or experience of one that suffers. It is to put up with, especially as an inevitable or unavoidable circumstances. So suffering is the state or experience of one that suffers. And suffering implies a conscious endurance of pain or distress. So I thought that was really interesting because I'm like, okay, you say conscience, and they mean conscience in the sense of like aware or alert, not necessarily like your conscience that knows right from wrong. But I just kind of wanted to have a discussion on like, we both have been through some things that were painful, right? And we had to decide what place we wanted to stay in and where we wanted to go from them. So I wanted to just get your thoughts on like what your attitude or what your thoughts are on pain versus someone who chooses to stay in suffering or suffer essentially. Because for me, it almost feels like pain is inevitable. I've heard this before as a quote, like pain is inevitable and suffering is a choice. I think I've heard before people say.
Mm,
What are
I
your
don't think
thoughts?
I don't. Yeah, I don't think suffering is a choice either. I think sometimes we just suffer. Like if you
Yeah.
think about grief, like let's say
Mm-hmm.
someone that you love very much uh, passes away, you're going to suffer. You're going to go through. You're gonna have a season or a appointed time of suffering that you
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything about. You know,
Right.
you can't change the fact, or you go through divorce, or you lose something very important to you, or you worked really hard, or you lose an opportunity, and it just some things in life you're going to suffer. I mean, and it's not going to be just like I feel like pain is um, the moment that you experience the pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
But suffering is like the entire experience, like the state after. Let's say you get shot with a gun or something. The pain, the initial pain you're going to experience after getting shot. But the suffering is, that healing process, the aftermath you go through to get back to a state of healing that's, that rec- hopefully you're recovering, but you're suffering. That is not. Or if you've ever experienced anyone that has cancer or has been through like a cancer battle, to see them go through losing their hair and being sick all the time and their body losing their eyebrows, their skin changes color and they don't have any energy and they're sick. That's suffering, and some things are you can mitigate and you can do some things about, but some things you cannot. It's like you're just suffering. You're just in a place of where things aren't working how you want them to. So yeah, I don't. Do I think in some ways we can? we can um, expand our suffering and make it worse, yes.
Mhm.
Like let's say you experience the grief of a loved one or someone passes away, and then instead of taking the time to like heal and grieve properly,
Right.
you grieve in a way that's unhealthy. So now not only do you have grief, but now you have a addiction, or which would prolong your suffering. So yeah.
I think there are moments where, yes, I do think pain is probably the peak prequel to some people who are in moments of suffrage. Um, I think more so when I think about suffering, I don't necessarily think about when you're in it, because that's still kind of like pain and suffering going hand in hand. It's
Okay.
more so like using the cancer analogy, for instance. You have some individuals who make it through, and by the grace of God they're able to maybe not get back to 100% of who they used to be, but they get some of their health back, and they're able to go on and live whatever their new normal is. But because of everything that they've been through, now they have this hard heart, and they just continue to stay in that suffering mindset of I'll never be who I was, and I'll never have my prime back. Or I even think about like older individuals, like people who age and they don't have the same vitality, or they don't have the same brain power and stuff, and they're just always complaining and thinking about their youth. And it's kind of just like, I feel like there are situations where suffering is inevitable, it will happen.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
there are, but I think a lot of times, maybe I can't say a lot of times, oftentimes some of the suffering we're going through is self-brought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just not choosing to get through it, or let it go, or get over it, or even a situation of like relationships and people who are suffering. We're choosing to not let this person go. We're choosing to not take what reality is and what is
Mm-hmm.
actually happening. Um, I think your journey will always be in response to your goal, right? So, if using the relationship analogy again, if you're in a relationship that you're unhappy with, and your goal is, if you're in an unhealthy relationship that you're not supposed to be in, or it's just not working, and your goal is to try to make it work, you're choosing to stay in suffering, because your journey is going to be towards the goal of trying to make this relationship work, and it's never going to work. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to stay suffering for as long as you continue to make that your goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting because when I think of suffering, I think what came to my mind is like these like very unfavorable conditions that
Mm-hmm.
you are have to submit to, and some of those conditions can be brought upon by our own choices, right? And then some of them can be brought upon by just our existence, like it's just
Mm-hmm.
part of
Yep.
our. It's like we all have a cross to bear. We all have something we're going to have to face and go through. And that's, at some point in our lives, and that may be one of them. Um, and so, but we always have the choice on how we choose to view the situation, right? That doesn't make it not hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us to maybe have peace, to have made some kind of uh, reconciled it within ourselves. Like, okay, this was been my experience. There's nothing I can do about it. I can learn. Nothing I can do to change what's already been done. But I can learn from it and apply new what I've learned from it and grow from the situation, which will put me could put me in a new state or in new conditions,
Mhm.
which are less painful, or even could be have or pleasurable. But those conditions could either be, you know, alleviated or prolonged by myself, right? My own choices and my own perspective, right? Some people look at like death as, man, I had so this time period with this person, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience them. And I believe that they fulfilled, what they were supposed to fulfill. And I will take what I learned from them, um, and carry on their legacy within within myself. And then some people have this perspective of they never should have died. Like that shouldn't have happened. That's so unfair. You know, the person who's responsible is this person, and they should get this kind of outcome on their lives. It just really depends what your experience is, like how you perceive the situation, as to, in my opinion, if that suffering prolongs. But you're gonna suffer because the
Mhm.
loss. We suffer when we lose things, or we have these negative experiences that create these very hard conditions for us to live in. But our perspective can either prolong it or help us escape those conditions in mind.
Yeah, I think your perspective is going to determine your response. And I think that's what you're getting at. Your response
Yes.
to that pain and suffering is
Yes.
whether the path will lead to even longer suffering, or if you'll be able to overcome this and kind of get to a point where, even if you have moments of where you recall it and it's painful or it's sad, you're not in this elongated state of just suffering. So like, in some of the things that you've had to go through with suffering and and choosing your response, what helped shape your perspective to lead you in a way to have a response that allowed you to get out of the place of suffering?
Um, to come to where I just reconciled with it, and I was just like, okay, acceptance. You mean?
Um, like, just to make the choice. I mean, yeah, I guess acceptance is a response, but like, how did you get to a point of reconciliation and acceptance? Because I think a lot of times we stay in the cycle of suffering and the nightmare because we choose to not accept it, and we choose not to, like with the example you said with the death, especially if it's like a younger person, this never should have happened. They were too young. And, instead of thinking about it like I had X amount of years, whether it be you feel like it was too small amount or not, celebrating the amount of time that you did have with this person versus saying they're gone too soon and it's just not fair, and always like reliving that, um, versus having that response of a little bit of gratefulness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
finding
The silver
the silver
lining.
lining.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I would say number one is prayer. Yeah, I don't think I know. I don't think I know I'm not good or strong or smart or any of that enough to handle life's tough times, uh,
Yeah.
with grace, if not for spending time with God in prayer. That's the only way I know how to handle hard things, like only way I know, because I think in that time where you really talk to God and just that devotional time, whether that's you're spending time in prayer, hopefully, and then you're reading, your Bible, or your encouraging word, or your devotional, or whatever, what have you, that you get, you change. God shows you how to change your perspective on the situation, because we in our pain are going to naturally look at it negatively, and um, nobody cuts their leg open and like, yes, this is wonderful. Oh my God, I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. No, we're screaming and we're hollering and it's bleeding and we see blood and it's painful, and now I've got to get stitches, and now, I can't play and all of this, and now I'm not able to do X, Y, Z, and I had plans, and now I have this big ugly scar. We think of all this is a very negative experience. And when you're in pain or something traumatic happens to you, all you can see is the negative. All you can see, like if you go through a divorce, it affects you on every level, uh, financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All of these things. All you see is bad things, negative on every level, in every space. Um, uh, Watching my sister fight disease, like all you see is negative things. So I would say that the only way um I was able to see that in a different light is through time with God in prayer. I can't give you another answer. That's my only. I cannot even sit up here and be like, yeah, I read this book and it was just a 5-step program and it was amazing. And then, and I just had this aha moment. It's like it just came to me. No, no, Jesus came to me, and Jesus helped me to see that, girl. Let me help you look at this in a different way, and let me help you see this from another perspective, and that your life is not over. You can start over, and with me, all things are possible. So you got the hack to life. That at the end of the day, I don't care what you go through, or what you encounter, or what you face, or who left, or who's still here, or who's not here, or what you failed, or you tried this and it didn't work out. You still have me, and if you have me, you have more than enough. I'm like, I have you, no matter what. No matter if I lose or win, or someone leaves or they don't leave, or a promise is kept and doesn't fail, or I failed someone or whatever. I still have you. And I would say that changes everything. And if you allow God to show you a new perspective on a situation that's probably terrible, to say that, like, terrible. Like, let's not act like it
when
wasn't
you
terrible.
when you
It
look
was
at it all on
terrible.
paper, it's terrible.
It's terrible. If you get SA'd, it's terrible. If you have that experience, it's a terrible experience. If if someone is hurtful to you, it's terrible. But there are also a lot of amazing things in life, like the birth of a baby, or when people get married, or time with your family, or you're able to help someone, or all of these beautiful moments, or you experience nature and you go to a new place, or you experience something that you really really wanted. You're going to throw all of that away, the possibility and the dream of all of that, because of something you've experienced that was negative. I don't want to do that. Do At sometimes in your life you're in so much pain, do you think about it? Heck yeah, you do. You're like, man, I just want out of here. I want out of this pain. But there's so much still. There's so much story left to be told. There's so much left, and so I 100% would say that having that change of perspective on the situation. There's a moment, my sister, as you know, my family moved. My only family, um, moved away, and I was really torn up about it. I mean, like, I don't have any children of my own. They were like my
You in
own
shambles.
children. I was in shambles. Can we be honest? I was in shambles. And I was really bent up about it. And I think I was praying, and the Lord just really reminded me. He was like, "Yeah, your sister is leaving, but at least you have a sister that can leave."
Mm. Woo!
And I immediately went to gratitude,
My gosh.
because God doesn't have to spare people's lives. He doesn't
At
have to
all.
like allow people to live. Like, there's so many people who woke up and they lost their sister. You know, they lost a family member. They lost a father. They lost a mom. You know what I'm saying? At least you have one. Yes, she's not down the street anymore, but you still have one.
Your nieces and nephews still have a mother.
Yeah. Like, at least you have a family. At least you have, there are some people that lose their whole family.
Mm. I just read a story about that. So sad. A dad and one child lost the wife and the other three children in a car accident.
Can you imagine?
I cannot, and I'll
You
pray
what
I never
you
have to think
that
about it.
you left the house with 5 people in your family. No, 6 people in your
6
family. And you come home
to 1.
to one? That sounds like crazy. That sounds crazy. So, you know, it's crazy. Suffering is this concept. I heard somebody talk about this. I have to give her credit. Her name is Sophia Ruffin. She's like a minister. She's like a coach and stuff like that.
Sophia Ruffin. She related to David Ruffin?
I know, right?
Okay. I ain't never heard the last
Um,
name Ruffin.
I know. But she had this concept when she lost her mother.
Mm.
She talked about suffering well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, what a
Mm.
concept, to suffer well. To think that you have the choice on how you will suffer. It's not the fact that you will suffer, because we all will suffer, but how you suffer, how you choose to suffer. Because it is a choice. You, even in your suffering, you still have a choice on how you're going to respond to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of you can respond with addiction, or you can respond with, you know, acting out. You can respond
Anger.
with, anger. You can respond with prayer. Like, some people dive more into their faith. They pray. They, talk to counselors. They, um, but suffering well. What a concept. I had never
That's
heard that before.
that's I've never heard the words for it, but I have thought deeply about it as a concept. You said a couple of things. I think I want to go back to the example that you gave with cutting your leg. It doesn't even have to be like a grandiose, like, I'm excited, I'm excited. You could have known something sharp was around the corner and knew if you didn't change the direction you were going to cut your leg, and then cut your leg and still be upset that you cut your leg.
Yeah, still
Even
mad.
though
Still mad.
you're still thinking about everything negative, even though you had the choice to not go that way.
Yeah.
That because that's how our minds and our brains are naturally wired. It works. But
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna have to look up that suffering well, because in all honesty, I never had the words for it. But I think that's what I went through when my dad died.
Hmm.
It I was very angry with the Lord, but it drew me closer to Him.
Hmm.
I started diving more into prayer. I started in my prayer. I don't even know if it was prayer, more so conversation. It was just like I had all these questions. Um, I had unction from the Holy Spirit to lead me to passages and scriptures in the Bible that
Hmm.
brought clarity, and started
Hmm.
answering some of those questions. And because I was like, I'm mad, but I don't want to
Mhm.
be mad. But
Mhm.
I am angry
Mhm.
and sad, and I'm feeling all of these things that I don't want to feel. So it, instead of running away from who I thought the cause of it was, it in a way shifted me closer. I don't know if the devil meant that for my good, my bad, but it ended up for my good. But whatever. Um, yeah, and so I chose to be like, okay, I'm going to respond to this in this way, and be thankful that I had a dad, and be aware that death happens. And it gave me, during that time period of healing, it gave me a clarity about death that I had never had before. And
Mhm.
now I have like, I think it really set me up because I actually have experienced a lot of death since then.
Mhm.
A lot of what you would call untimely, young. You know, we lost a classmate
Mhm.
who I was very close to, who I literally talked to the day before,
So crazy.
making summer plans, talking about what we were going to be doing and when we were both going to be coming home. And the next day, getting a call from their mother. It's just like, and I had already gone through that grief and suffering and boot camp almost with God about death prior to that, to where it didn't necessarily make me angry even though I was suffering.
Mhm.
So I totally think that's a life-changing concept, to choose how you suffer. Um, because it's gonna, pain and suffering is inevitable and they're gonna happen in your life. I mean, we are both faith based, you know, that our belief in God, even looking at the Bible, think about, you know, being taken out of slavery, and you had a course that was going to be given to you for a land of more than you could have ever imagined. And their response to that suffering, that moment, what should have been momentary suffering, caused it to be 40 years of suffering.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I think sometimes if we don't make the better choice in the in a proper amount of time, you get so deep into that hole that it becomes
Oh yeah. You
impossible to
can't
come
get
out.
out. You can't get out. It's all you see. The human mind is a strange place and a powerful thing. It is literally how you choose to see the world will be your experience. And it really is self-fulfilling prophecy to a certain degree. Well, I'm a half full kind of girl. You're gonna see. I'm a half full. I'm a half empty. I'm just a realist, and I just see negative, and that's all you're gonna see. If you're a hammer, all you see is nails. And so if we want to live a certain life, it's a certain way we have to see the world.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like the world is so terrible that it's um there's nothing good, we're all doomed. You're not even gonna try. You're not even gonna try to make it better. You're not gonna even gonna use your gifts to add value or to
Why
bring,
would you if you don't think, you think it's worthless?
if you think it's worthless. If you have that kind of outlook and there's nothing anyone can do about it, you have no hope. And so, and then if you have no hope, how are you going to live? You're probably going to drink your life away. Or,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to live a certain way because you're like, oh, we're all going down, don't matter. And so, but the person who believes, no, there's still beautiful things in the world, and the sound of this, and it's still beautiful moments, and it's still kindness, and there are still children, and the children come out, they say things that are so real, but that are so like wow, simple and um, um, those beautiful moments with children. I'm not sure if you see like the memes of kids saying like profound things, but they're like simple and like, oh, well, just apologize. And you're like, man, you're right, just apologize. Or just the most basic, simple things, but a child has to say, you like, wake up from out of your egotistical, in
You
your
almost be in a
mind.
daze.
Yeah, you can be consumed with that. And so um but it's the eyes, if you can see the world almost in a childlike way, that there is still hope. Children think anything is possible. Like,
Anything.
if you tell them, oh, I'm going to the roof, and when I get to the roof I'm gonna fly and I'll be right back, they'll be
They
like,
gonna believe. They gonna
what?
go to the window and look for. They gonna look to see you jump off that roof and fly.
They literally believe anything is possible. And it's as we get older and we go through things and we have negative experiences, we don't believe it's possible anymore. We're like, no, I have to do it like this, or I have to have this. And, I'm not even going to try, because what's the point? I've been through X, Y, and Z, so why would it ever happen for me now? And but children, they're like, no, it could. Why don't you just try? You can do it. Like, it's so simple for them. And so it just goes to show you that you see a lot of people who have these amazing testimonies or amazing experiences where they tell about how they were one way, and then, they did X, Y, and Z, and then their life completely changed. And um, some people will say, oh, well, that worked for them because of X, Y, and Z.
But
But
nobody's special in that way.
they had enough courage to believe in themselves and go after what they really wanted, which is like the first step. Most people never even go after what they want.
That's truly the first step.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Most
That's
most
true.
of us settle for what we can get at the moment.
What we see is in arm's reach. What
Yeah.
seems
What
tangible.
absolutely. What makes sense, what seems like is achievable in the immediate near future. And we don't go after what we know we could do or what's possible. We go after um, what doesn't stretch us at all.
Whew. Well, I mean, getting stretched is uncomfortable, and people don't
Completely,
like to be in
100%.
discomfort.
What doesn't challenge us? And I don't know. It takes a certain kind of belief system to go toward things that challenge us. Like,
Man, and going to change you.
challenge and change you. Because
Mhm.
anything that doesn't challenge you is probably not going to change you. It's just not.
Absolutely not.
It's
Mm-mm.
just not. So it's not, but it's not in our benefit not to be challenged. Like, if you're not getting better, you're going backward. If you're not moving forward intentionally, you're probably going backward. I heard a quote today from a business owner. He said, "If your business isn't growing, it's dying." And I was like, "Jesus
Woo!
Christ!" There's the illusion of maintaining.
And no, maintaining is steady growth.
You're not maintaining. Is you're
That
gonna
is
who
good.
you're not maintaining. It's
Wow.
like believing that you're gonna get. Let's say the time is 6 o'clock. You're supposed to be somewhere. The believing that you're gonna get there at 6 o'clock. Nobody is 6 o'clock is a 1 minute window. You're either gonna be early or you're gonna
One
be
minute
late.
early or 1 minute late.
So the idea that you can get there and be there at 6, you only have 1 minute. Let's say your goal is 10%. You only got 1%. So you're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Ah.
So
Yo, we. Hmm.
yeah, and he was like, if your business not growing this time, and I was like, oh, he was like, yeah, you're not maintaining. That's illusion. That's not even real. If you're not planning for growth, you're going down. You're so
That's who told him to open his mouth and read people like that. That was.
red. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
That's, I mean, it's true though. I don't think we as human beings were made to not progress, because we you see the older people who are either happy with the decisions that they've made and like really are now like living a second, almost like a second life. It's a second win of life.
Yeah.
Kids grown,
Yeah.
retired. You feel good about the choices you made. You did what you wanted to do, or not even what you wanted to do, but like you really feel like you went down a path that was worthy. It was a purposeful path, and you gave your offerings and gifts to the world that you know feel like you were created to give. But then you see the people who work because they felt like they couldn't get anything better than what they had, and they tired, and they grumpy, and they're angry, and stoic. It's just like we even in that is progression. Even up until the age of 70, 80, you're still progressing. You're still doing things.
And I have personally have to give credit. I feel like my relationship with God is what pushes me
Mm-hmm.
to to
Same.
go after new challenges and not maintain this just comfortable place, and just crawl up into my little hole and just
Because it's a false sense of comfort. Eventually, you're going to feel unhappy, and you're not going to really be able to identify it without God.
why.
You're going
Yeah.
to be like, I'm
I
making
feel
it,
like I was supposed to be doing
but
something,
I
but
feel like I'm not happy. What's going on?
yeah, yeah. And so I think boredom is like the proof that nothing stays the same. Because like we as soon as we get the thing we've wanted, it's like you
Yeah.
got 0.2 milliseconds before you're over it. And you're bored
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, what's next?
You're looking for what's
So
next.
yeah. So it's just like you were never designed or created to just
Stick with.
do this thing and just stay the same. Like we should always be growing. We should always be learning. We should always be evolving. We should always be getting better and becoming better versions of ourselves. And teaching and sharing and giving. And it should be this flow of things coming out. Things coming in and things going out.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do that, that's when we get all stuck. You ever see somebody constipated? They're not fun to be around. They just
Have you
like,
ever felt the stomach of someone who's constipated? It's rock hard
yeah,
a lot of
disgusting.
times.
Their face turned up. They uncomfortable. They grumpy. They're like, they feel terrible. Um, yeah, we were never designed to just be stuck. Even in our physical bodies, there's this flow. It should be flowing. And I think if you really look at our world, it's a flow. Look at the water cycle. Even something as simple as the water cycle. I remember my niece studying the water cycle. Okay, so the water, and then it gets evaporated. Now it's in the clouds, and then the clouds is condensation, and the cloud fills up in
Condensation.
condensation, and then the cloud gets really heavy, and then the rain comes down, and then the
I
rain
love
comes down, and then it's
kids teaching.
evaporated. Like it's so amazing, this nice cycle, or even this like life cycle of a plant, and things roots, and then things fall off, and then they decompose, and then they become fertilizer for the next thing that's going to happen. It's just a flow, and we shouldn't be and that, I mean, that even aligns itself with the flow of suffering. Like we're never designed to stay in this state of like, oh, my life sucks, it's never gonna change, oh blah, like we're forever. Like that's not realistic. The reality is things go down and things go up, and
It's an
then
ebb and flow.
it's an ebb and flow. But if you allow yourself to to make your home in the valley, like I'm never leaving the valley. Like this is who I am now. I'm just a valley girl. I will never be back up. Like this is how I identify myself as a person.
Forward my mail
As a,
here. I'm in the valley.
I'm, and I identify as a valley dweller, and this is just who I am now because this is, I can't. You chose to stay in that valley. It was never supposed to be your identity. It was never like when we go, but it's so easy to have these negative experiences. They're all away, all around us, and then they get in us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like very hard to keep what's going on outside on the inside. Like eventually you say to yourself, "Oh, this must be what I deserve, or this must be who I am. This must be where I should be or stay." When it's not true, you're just in a down time, and if you stay focused on the future and on what the goal, like eventually, it'll come back up. Like it eventually.
Yeah.
And so I think if we even look at nature and everything, there's a flow, there's a cycle, there's this movement to everything. And I think if we even align ourselves with that in a way that says this is a downtime, we can acknowledge that. Like, man, I'm down right now. And you know what? What am I supposed to learn in this down moment? What am I supposed to receive? What am I supposed to get rid of? What am I supposed to um experience? What am I supposed to about me needs to change? What about me needs to um what do I need to reconcile? What do I need to absolve? What do I need to resolve within myself in this moment? Instead of being like, I hate it here. And I'm good for that. Sometimes I'll be like, I hate this valley. Why? It's good. It's easy to be there and just to
Yeah.
hate. But there's something there. There's even beauty in the valley. There are some things and some plants that only grow in valleys.
Hmm.
There's literally
The
a
lily
flower
of the
called
valley.
lily of the valley that
Yeah.
there's these different types of things that you only experience in these valleys. It's like a beauty in every situation. There is a beauty. There is a beauty. um and so even in this valley there are some things that we can learn and we can experience and we can look at and we can grow from and we can develop from, um that we you won't see on a high elevation. You just can't see it. So saying that to say, whatever period of your life, maybe you're in a valley, maybe somebody's watching in the valley and it's like terrible. I'm still coming out of mine, so I understand. They're not all the same. They test different parts of us, but know that number one, I think suffering well is a real thing.
Hmm.
For real, like I
Do
can
you
choose
have
to
like
run.
do you have like a 60-second elevator pitch for what she meant by suffering well?
Yeah, suffering well means to make the choice to do the things that are going to allow you to heal in your suffering, rather than beget more suffering for yourself or hurt yourself, right?
Hmm.
You go through something traumatic, you can choose to. Some people deal with pain in different ways. Some people eat, some people exercise, some people talk to people, some people sleep around. Some people go in nature, some people smoke the nature. Spend time with the trees. Some people smoke the trees. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just
It's
here's the
about
problem
the
with that.
choice.
Here's the problem with that. I'm not here to judge nobody, but are you dealing or are you just numbing?
Yeah. Is it leading to a solution?
It's
Or is it
not.
just pausing you into the moment that you're in?
Yeah, and if you keep doing that, you're not dealing with it. You're
Yeah.
not dealing with the trauma. You're just prolonging it. Because had you dealt with it 6 months ago, you might be in a whole different place now,
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever. But because you have chosen to escape, which I understand,
Escapism. Yeah.
escapism, I get it. We all do it in some form or fashion, you know. Um, it because you continue to escape, we never dealt with it.
Yeah. It has to
Right.
come a moment where you choose to no longer escape.
Yeah,
What
you gotta face it.
I think there's a in your suffering, there's a moment where you can just ask why, or you can ask why and what. You can say,
Mhm.
why am I going through this? What do I need to do to get out of it?
Yes. What
What
do
am
I
I
need to do?
supposed to learn? Like you said, what am I supposed to let go of? What's holding me here? What
Yeah.
can pull me out? Instead
Yeah.
of just saying, why has thou forsaken me? Or why
Yeah.
am I here? Why is this happening to me? I feel like this is only happening to me. I have the worst luck in the world. Why
Yeah.
me? Why me? Why me?
Yeah.
Why me? You
Yeah.
can have those thoughts.
Yeah. You're going to
You're
probably.
going to.
Yeah, for sure.
But what would help you, and I think what would make you suffer well, is to partner it with the why. If you're anything into literature or like literature or writing or anything like that, there's always a what, who, why, when, where. That's like a
Setting, like
basic
the setting.
setting
Mm-hmm.
for if you're writing something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can help when you're thinking about like, where am I in life? Why am I here? What am I supposed to learn? Who is who am I supposed to meet, or who am I
Yeah.
supposed to
Who am I supposed to
become?
reach and become? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Where
A
am I
hundred
supposed to go
percent.
from here?
100%.
Like, yeah, I am in a whole nother state because of the Lord, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I asked the who, what, when, where, why, and some of them I don't got the answer to yet. Maybe I ain't got the answer to none of them yet, but I'm
Yeah.
here.
And that's a measure of suffering, having to
Yeah.
do things that you just
You
don't
don't want to
understand.
do.
You don't want to do, you don't understand. And you can choose to like really be very angry and have all these negative feelings about it, or you can choose to say, hey, I trust the person, I trust God who told me to do X, Y, and Z. And at some point, he's going to tell me. At some
Yeah.
point, this is all going to make
Going to
sense.
make
It doesn't right
sense.
now, but at some point it will. And I have to be okay with that. And I
You
can I
gotta
can
be
celebrate.
okay with not getting the answers immediately.
Yes, and I can celebrate the small everyday wins, like
Yep.
the small moments, like meeting the young man Patrick. That was a celebration for me because it was just like wow to meet someone that um, um, I felt like we aligned with what we wanted to accomplish. That was a blessing to me because that doesn't happen all the time. And to meet someone who has capacity for you, who's willing to be
Mm,
a part of what you're doing, or willing or wanting to show up and wanting to use their gifts to help you. It's not, people don't have to do that. And
no.
so just, yeah, maybe you didn't get an answer over here, but you got this, you got this little sunshine, or you saw this flower over here, and or you saw this opportunity over here. And so it's just important that while the other things are healing, we do what we can do. And I think that's what it means to suffer well. You're going to feel it. You have to address it. You have to feel it and do what you can do. The positive things that are going to help you grow and heal, and not the negative things that are going to prolong your pain.
Because you're gonna have to choose to do one. That's really how it comes down to it. You're gonna do one or the other.
A
So
hundred
why
percent.
not choose what seems hard but will heal you
It's
versus what will keep you there?
it's like if you go through a bad breakup and then you just have sex with everybody. Anybody, everybody. It's like getting under somebody else to get over someone else, right? So you continue to have these sexual relationships because you're in pain emotionally. And that's how you chose to deal with it. Now, the problem is that you're only begetting more pain because these people don't love you. These people don't care about you. These people don't, you know, they don't
And
care
it
about
may
you.
not hit you immediately, but one night you're gonna get home and you're gonna be
One night,
like, I still ain't
they
got
don't
nobody to
care.
hold me. I'm
Yep.
still in the bed by
Alone.
myself, alone.
Alone. And maybe um had I went through a healing process, I'd be on my way to be ready for something real at by now. But because I handled it negatively and handled it in a way that only prolonged my suffering,
Which is
I have to
numbing.
start at ground zero.
Hmm.
So maybe a year ago, if had I done this a year ago, I'd probably be of healed, glowed up emotionally and been ready for something new. But now I'm still broken. Did no work, did no healing, did no nothing from the last situation I was in. And now I have to start now. So it's a choice. That part, prolonging the suffering, it is a choice. We do get to make a decision and say, how I'm suffering, but how am I suffering?
Yeah. And I think choosing moments of gratitude help in building your hope, which help you suffer well. When you choose to be grateful and look for the pockets of sunshine through the cloudy skies, or even when you're in the rain thinking about the flowers getting bloomed. Um, it's very true.
Nature is so powerful.
It
Like,
really is.
oh my God. Just, I think, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think us not being in nature is a bad thing. I think it's not good for us not to be around plants. It's not good for us not to be around soil and trees and water and the forest and water and all of that. Like, we try to contrive and make these little patches of it, but when I'm in nature, it is such a peace. And they literally say that just seeing greenery and foliage and vegetation, like, it literally, it calms the nervous system. That's why people love the beach. Natural elements calms the nervous system.
Yeah, even
It's therapeutic.
grass can up your cortisol levels, which are affect your dopamine, which
Hmm.
affect your happiness gene. So
Hmm.
even they call it grounding, but even putting your feet into grass naturally will up the cortisol levels in your
Well,
body.
well, cortisol is stress, so we want
I
to
mean,
we need to make it go down.
go down. I'm sorry. Yeah, it
Yes,
makes your
yes.
cortisol levels go down.
Yeah, no, I 100% believe that. So I
Hmm.
mean, it's different ways to put yourself in a place where you're doing things that are therapeutic, right? I remember being like, I'm going through the divorce, right? I can laugh at it now, but at the time it wasn't funny. But
It's never funny at the time.
it wasn't funny at the time. And I'm at my sister's house, and it's just the heat of everything. It was like into the thick of it. It was the thick of it, right? And I felt like God told me to start exercising. And I was like, bruh,
No, not not interested.
I want to eat ice cream. That's what I want to do. I want to eat ice cream and watch reality TV, and I want to feel sorry for myself. That's what I'm going to do. I had a plan, and that's how I was going to handle the situation. Now, could I have done that? Yes. Would any of those things have led me to a better self version of myself?
Probably not.
Probably not. Not over time. Okay, you do it one time, a few times, but not continuously over time. all of that would have probably led to a lesser version of myself, right? Unhealthy, you know, my brain is,
On a
getting
sugar
fried,
high,
getting
and now
fried.
you're gaining weight, and now you not only gone through divorce, but now you like, oh god, my body not the same as it was anymore. Now I gotta bounce back from that. I'm already trying to bounce back from divorce. Now I gotta bounce back from gaining weight. Like, will it ever end?
Yeah. And so now I've only made myself more issues, right? By how I chose to handle the situation. But God literally told me, get up and start exercising. I was like, I don't want to do that. He's like, exercise. And then my sister tells me I need to get up. And then my mother calls me and tells me. It's like three people told me I need to get up and start exercising. I said, okay. But I didn't know that exercise increases your dopamine. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
exercise increases your endorphin. So what he was telling me to do was going to help me emotionally,
In the natural
physiologically
realm, in the
in
natural realm, it
different
was going
realms.
to, yeah.
It was going to hit me different ways on different levels because divorce hits you on several levels. But exercise was going to hit me physiologically at the nervous, chemical level of your brain, because if you are constantly in high cortisol environment where you're constantly at a state of high cortisol, it is um,
You
dangerous.
become, yeah, you get into survivor's mode almost, and
Yeah,
then
and it's dangerous to your body. Even
it
it
can
decreases your
cause
immune
heart
system.
attack. Mm-hmm.
All of those things, stroke,
Mm-hmm.
ulcers, decrease your immune system, headaches, migraines, all kinds of stuff. Your body is vulnerable because you're never designed to have this long time of high cortisol level, right? So he knew it was going to affect me that way. He knew that the motion was going to also, the movement was going to help me, right? Just having doing something that increases the blood flow, all of those things were going to help me and make me happy and increase those. And then you start to look, oh, I'm getting muscular, I'm moving around. Oh, that makes you feel better. I might be hurt on the inside, but at least I look cute on the
You're
outside.
seeing progression. You feel you
Yeah,
feel
you're like,
like
I'm still cute though.
I'm still look, because my I tell people you could be ugly going through this, and then it
At least you're
really,
cute.
at least you got your looks about you. Your hair's not uneven, and you don't look dusty.
You don't look like what you've been through. No one would know.
So
No one would know.
nobody would know.
Yeah, so that moment, I remember being like, why? It was after time I saw why God told me to exercise. He also told me to work on a music project. I'm like, yo, out of all the time of my life, you want me to work on music now?
I'm
I'm
in
like, no,
pain.
no, this is not a good idea.
I'm
I'm
in
not doing it.
pain.
But he knows that, and I
Mm-hmm.
did. And he knew that working on something constructive
Mm-hmm. And something you love to
and something that
do.
you enjoy, and something putting your mind on creating something constructive and something positive would do something for you. So that is another way to suffer well. Yeah, you're suffering, but okay, what has God told you to do? What is something that God has given you the green light to work on, and create and do something with your hands that's positive, right? So the people that he allowed me to be around, I was around a good marriage, that they were suffering, but they were going through things together. And I saw how, people could work together. And so God would allow you to be around things that give you hope for the future, although you're in a very painful present. You might be in a very hard moment, but there is still hope for the future. And that if you prepare yourself for that future moment, be prepared. You It during that time, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a dreamer. I don't know if we have any dreamers that watch this, but I'm a dreamer. And I'm not gonna go deep into that, but at that time I kept having dreams about missing an opportunity. Like getting called on, to sing or to speak
Mm,
or to go somewhere. And I was a wreck, right? Emotionally a wreck, was not ready. And what I got from the dream and looking back on it now, had I not done the work to um, ready myself, even though I was in pain, look beyond now in the present, the painful present, toward the future in a time where I'm healed and I'm better and I'm ready, then I would miss all my opportunities,
mm,
because if God has something lined up for you a year from now, but you decide to take a year off of life and just to go do your own thing. Now, in a year, you're not ready. He
I'm
can't
not
even
ready.
give that to you because you're not ready. You're not ready to receive what he has for you. So now that new season is pushed out, right? Because
Mm,
we took a year off and did our own thing. But how we followed him to say, okay, yes, you're going through this. I'm sorry, that's painful for you. But let me show you how to heal and suffer well and walk through this, not park and make this your new home and your new identity, but walk through this so you can get to the other side of this. And so, yeah, don't
it's
live there.
almost like don't live there.
Don't live there.
And don't, yeah, I think it's so important to not make it your identity. Some people make suffering their identity. Like the woe is me, that's my life and I've had it's a hard nut life. Like,
Life.
and it's not going to be anything else. This is just my life. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
I feel like suffering hits you. It's almost like it penetrates your armor on so many levels. Like a drive by. Like you get hit. Sometimes people get shot and they don't even know they've been shot until they see the blood or the
Mm-hmm.
bullet wound.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I think in that time, what God was saying that there's all these shots that maybe you didn't even know you got hit on, and I need you to do these things to heal it before that wound expands and grows.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then you're down. You're really down.
You
I mean,
down bad, as they like to say.
yeah,
I'm
we
down bad.
down real bad. So, God is so wise in how he does things, how he helps us to move forward in things. And to let go, release anger, release bitterness, release. That's why he takes you through those times. And he tell you forgive people that you like. They don't deserve it.
Man, they right immediately. I
They don't
remember God
deserve it
told me,
though.
God had told me to forget somebody. I said, Lord, I'm 2 fresh days out of it. I'm mad as ancient double hockey sticks. This person did not. They wrong. He said, forgive them.
Forgive. Yeah, because the longer you prolong that, the longer you prolong your own healing, your
Mm-hmm.
own breakthrough, your own, joy, your own all of that. If you're mad, how are you gonna be joyful? If you're mad and bitter, how are you gonna be at peace and joyful? Those don't coexist. You
No.
gotta get rid of that. You gotta let that anger, that bitterness, that all of that. You gotta let it go. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, so what? I wish him the best. Yes, she did it. You know what? They thought they beat me. Ha, joke's on you. You did it. And I'm still going to come up, and God is still good. And I still have breath in my body, so I still have another chance. I still have another day to try again. And yes, you might have thought you thought you won, but you didn't. And, you know, you tried, but it's okay. And, you know,
Go off
um,
and have the day that you deserve.
and honestly, a lot of times when I go really look at it, I feel empathy. I feel sad for those
You
people because
should.
you thought you were going to experience joy by hurting me. That's not joy. You thought that was going to make you better and make you have a better experience in the world by hurting and doing me wrong. And unfortunately, that's not how
For
it works.
you, unfortunately for you, it's not how it works. I think of it. You want to know what helps me to forgive? And I garnered a spirit of forgiveness very early on. I think God knew I needed that because I mean, I've had to forgive. But I think about the fact that how be it me to think so highly of myself to not forgive this person when there's a
A
God
hundred,
who forgives me every single day.
100%.
Like,
Who do
are
you
you
think you
kidding
are?
me? Who do I
Absolutely.
think I am? I
But
don't.
it's another thing when people be I have more I don't say have more forgiveness, but it is easier to forgive people who did something accidentally or deceive. Like they not
Oh
deceive,
yeah,
but
nah. I mean, it
like
can be, but people who do things purposefully to hurt you,
you be like, so you enjoying this? Oh, you
yeah, that's a
like this?
different. That's a different
That's
kind of beat,
something.
right? You just sit back like, huh? You done?
That's really
Hmm.
something.
So that's bringing you joy.
Oh, you
Hmm.
really
I was listening to this relationship coach who was talking about narcissists and how narcissists there's a certain level of narcissism that enjoys pain,
100%.
and so you'll see like they actually get aroused by it,
Uh huh.
and so
That's why
you
SA is a thing because
yeah.
me hurting you is a turn on.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's never. I mean, SA is always about power. It's never really about the actual act. A lot of
Hmm.
times, but yeah, and they were just saying like you can't engage in like sexual acts with it if you're in a relationship and you notice that they are getting enjoyment, because what that will do is it'll teach them to continue to push your button to get you to be sad or emotional, whatever, or hurt you in a certain type of way to get like that arousal.
Yeah, that moment. And so they teach you gray rock, show no emotion. Because
Hmm.
now the game's over. They're not having fun anymore. It's boring now. Oh, I'll just move on to the next person because you're not giving me anything. Hmm. Fun
Yeah,
times.
it's a, it is a
Real fun,
different.
fun times.
I know when
Ask
somebody
me how I
hurts you,
know. You know,
baby.
life's a funny thing. You learn, you live, you learn.
Oh gosh, what did Prince say? We are gathered here today to talk about a thing called life.
Life,
Uh,
absolutely. But you know
yes.
what? When you go through things that are ugly, it really just helps you to take a look at yourself and say, okay, what level or what am I putting out in the world that's bringing certain things to me?
Because we do attract.
100%.
It's
So
it's it's like a pheromone.
yes, what am I or how do I see the world that is tolerating or tolerable of certain things? Or that's why it's so important to self-reflect and have lessons and study your life and study and journal and kind of see what are some themes. It was interesting. I was going back through some old journals and I was able to see some reoccurring themes in my life, things that I would write about. And I was like, oh wow, this kept showing up. So what's
Hmm.
my plan for this
Yeah,
in the future? But I wouldn't know that had I not written about it, or
journaling is very powerful. I encourage all of our listeners, if you don't, to start journaling. It helps with self reflection a lot, especially if you are going through moments of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Suffer well. Um, yeah, live well. Just how we have this wellness plan for just life in general. We have to take that into those times of suffering. We can't just give that all up.
Yeah,
When we go through bad times, we have to. And I understand falling off, but it having a moment or a week or two. But you talking 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 months. Oh, there's
we
gonna
get to
be
half a year. Now we're at a whole year, and it goes by like that in the
like
blink of
that,
an eye.
like that, like that. That's why you need good people around you. That's why you need accountability. That's why you need good friendships that are gonna say, um,
Nah, Doc, we can't stay here. Let's pack it
yeah,
up.
what's going on here? What
Mm-hmm.
is that are you're not yourself. You're not yourself. And how what's happening that's not allowing you to be yourself, and what do we need to do to get you back to being you? You know. So, or
Yeah,
a better version of you, because sometimes you'll never get back to that person, and that's okay. It might be for the better. But
be a
how do
better
we get
person. Yeah.
yeah, how do we get to you being a better version of you?
It's almost like, remember that show we watched from scratch with Zoe Saldana? And after
Uh-huh.
and spoiler alert, I mean, it's been out for years now, so if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but this is a spoiler alert. And her husband passes away, and
Man, that was
it's like a week or two, and then her sister finally comes in, busts in the room. She's like, "You need to get it together,"
get
pretty
up.
much. And she's like, "My husband that's died," and she says, "I know. Now get up.
You
Are you gonna
stink.
stay here? You stink. Go take a shower and get yourself together."
Your life isn't over. Your life isn't over.
Period.
You're
Your
still
life is
here.
not over.
Yeah, you're still here. You are still
Mm-hmm.
here.
And there's a
Yeah.
purpose for you, whether
There's
it be if
purpose.
you have children or you're supposed to touch the world in some way with your art. Like, if you never make it to where you're supposed to go, you need to understand that there are other people who may not make it
Mhm.
because you are the key to unlock for them.
Yeah, think about all the foundations and all the things we have now that were solutions created as a solution to something someone else went through. They hurt themselves or they lost a loved one, and they created this foundation in their honor and they helped countless other people like them. Had they not went through their own pain, they wouldn't have created that. They wouldn't have. Like, I know a lady. She was with someone, and they think that the abusive spouse set the house on fire. She
Good
lost
Lord.
she lost three children in this.
Woo.
Only one survived. Now, 20 some years later, she has a foundation for abuse, for domestic violence, that helps so many women. So has she not, and she tells her story. She's married now. She has grandchildren, all of that. But like, she got married again and all of that. But has she just ended her life? Like, I cannot. And understandably, we would have understood. Like, man, you lost all your
We
kids.
went through a lot. But then what would have
Yeah.
happened to the one surviving child?
So what happened
What
to
would have happened to the women who are being touched by your foundation? What would have happened
your
to the
husband
husband
now? He
that
would
you're
never.
married to? He never would have found. Like, all these what if, like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta keep moving. There's a woman
Yeah.
that I follow on social media called Beauty to the Streets, and she helps the homeless. She does their hair and brings them makeup and feeds them. I mean, on a constant rotation. She has a rotation all over California and Las Vegas. Every day she's out in a new location, Skid Row, Vegas, all that. And it was birthed because she lost a child when they were very young, and
Mm.
she fell into a depression, and she ended up on the streets.
Mm.
And she was like, I gotta get my life back together. I can't stay out here. And she got off the streets, cleaned herself up. And she was like, I know what it's like to be on the streets. I know what it's like to be dealing with depression and
Mm.
anxiety and hurt and pain. And a lot of these people don't even seem, they're not humanized. So she goes out there and she humanizes them. She gives them makeup. She does their makeup and she does their
Mm.
hair and gives them
Mm.
toiletries and hot
Mm.
meals and gives
Wow.
them choices. She doesn't just come with one plate. What you want? You want this, you want that? I have three options for you. All these things. So if she would have stayed there, the thousands upon thousands of people that she's
So true.
fed would never have been able to experience those
So
moments
true.
of joy and humanization and the connections that she has with them if she would have
Yeah.
gave up. Because she talked about, she was like, I wanted to myself. I was almost at the point where I myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
Powerful.
easy, but think of it this way: you can either go further down into the hole, or you could try to make your way out.
It's really that simple. How we suffering well is, I'm either going deeper, farther down, or I'm headed up. out of it.
And what's the worst that really could happen? If you try to make your way up and let's say you do fall down, you was going to go down anyway.
That's one way to look at it. That's
So
one way to look at it.
why not just try to make it out?
You could make it out 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So suffer well, people. Suffer well. I love that. That's good. You have any last words for the people before we wrap up here tonight, Tarrah?
Thank you for watching.
Yes, we thank you so much for
Thank
tuning
you for
in.
watching. Y'all want a theme song? Do y'all
We
want
do need one. We're gonna get you one. And maybe our co-host will make it for us.
Thank you. Thank you for
I don't know.
watching. What y'all want to be like? 90s? Y'all trying to take it
90s.
2000s? What y'all want to sound like? You know what I'm saying? Give us
You
some feedback.
all, yeah, give us some feedback. Hit us
Do you
up on
want
social
guests? What kind of
media.
guests? I think it'd be nice to have some guests on.
It
Some
would be
crazy.
nice to have some guests for
What kind
sure.
of guests are you talking
What
about?
you want to hear us talk about? You want us to add some segments? You want some
Oh, segments are
friendship?
coming. Period. Period. Period.
Yes.
Period.
Hit us up on our socials. You all know where to
Period.
find us. We are at Funny Podcast on everything. That's FUNIPODCAST. Everywhere. We are still trying to get our TikTok back. If we don't have it back by this week, we're more than likely going to create a new one. I would hate to have to do that because we can't even access the videos that have been posted on there. If somebody out there at TikTok, please, if you can hear our cry, okay, help us. Help
That's crazy.
me. Hit us up on our Gmail as well. Hit us up with any ideas, feedback. Please like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube, Friendship University Podcast. And wherever you're listening, whatever streaming platform, one thing that you can do that doesn't cost you anything and that would be a major help to us to keep us coming back week after week is rating us. Give us those 5 stars. Leave the reviews and the comments of how you're enjoying the podcast and what you would like us to talk about. That interaction helps very much so, and it doesn't cost you anything but a moment of your time, and we appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in to another episode, and we will see y'all next week. Bye.